The Mind's Mirage, Unravelling the Availability Heuristic. Greetings, intrepid explorers of the human psyche. This is your good friend Frank welcoming you back to the Clockwork Eye, where we endeavor to illuminate your mind, one insight at a time. Today, we're setting our sights on a fascinating cognitive phenomenon that shapes our perception of reality more than we might realize, the availability heuristic. As the eminent British philosopher Bertrand Russell once remarked, what men want is not knowledge, but certainty. This profound observation cuts to the heart of our discussion today, for the availability heuristic is nothing if not our mind's attempt to manufacture certainty in an uncertain world. But before we plunge into the depths of this cognitive quirk, I implore you, dear viewers, to pause for a moment. Consider, when was the last time you overestimated a risk based on a vivid memory or recent news story? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your insights might illuminate this concept for fellow travelers on our intellectual odyssey. Now, let us embark on our exploration. The availability heuristic, first identified by psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman in 1973, is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, method, or decision. It's our mind's way of saying, if I can think of it quickly, it must be important. Consider the words of the obscure 17th century English philosopher, Thomas Hobbes, who wrote in his lesser-known work, Human Nature. For the errors of definitions multiply themselves, according as the reckoning proceeds, and lead men into absurdities, which at last they see, but cannot avoid without reckoning anew from the beginning. Hobbes, in his characteristically pessimistic way, was touching upon the very essence of cognitive biases like the availability heuristic. They compound, leading us further from truth with each mental leap. Now, let's look deeper into the sociological implications of this phenomenon. The availability heuristic doesn't just affect individuals, it shapes societies. In the annals of obscure sociological literature, we find a fascinating study by Macedonian researcher Ipko Efremov, who examined the impact of media reporting on public perception of crime rates. Efremov found that in areas where violent crimes were reported more sensationally, residents perceived a higher crime rate, even when actual crime statistics showed no increase. This brings to mind the words of the oft-overlooked American sociologist W.I. Thomas, who posited, if men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. The availability heuristic, then, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, shaping our collective reality through our shared misperceptions. But what of the philosophical implications? For this, we turn to the wisdom of the ancient East. In the esoteric Zen text, New Monken, we find the koan. Two monks were arguing about a flag. One said, the flag is moving. The other said, the wind is moving. The sixth patriarch happened to be passing by. He told them, not the wind, not the flag, mind is moving. This cryptic passage encapsulates the essence of our discussion. It's not the events themselves that shape our perception, but the movement of our minds, the cognitive processes, including the availability heuristic, that color our interpretation of reality. As we navigate this cognitive landscape, I'm reminded of an anecdote from my travels in the remote highlands of Bhutan. There, a wizened lama shared with me an ancient proverb, the yak on the near side of the mountain always appears larger than the elephant on the far side. This simple yet profound wisdom perfectly encapsulates the availability heuristic, that which is near and easily recalled looms larger in our minds than distant, less accessible information. Before we conclude, I urge you, dear viewers, to consider the implications of the availability heuristic in your own lives. How might it be shaping your decisions, your fears, your aspirations? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Your reflections might just be the catalyst for profound self-discovery in another viewer's journey. As we draw this discourse to a close, remember the words of the obscure Romanian philosopher Emil Cioran, who wrote, "We are afraid of the enormity of the possible." Perhaps the availability heuristic is our mind's way of managing that fear, of making the enormous scope of possibility more manageable, if not always more accurate. As ever, if you have found value in today's exploration of the availability heuristic, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the Clockwork Eye. Your support enables us to continue our collective journey through the fascinating terrain of human cognition. Until our next meeting of minds, dear viewers, may you approach your perceptions with curiosity and skepticism in equal measure. For in the grand clockwork of cognition, awareness is the key that wins the springs of wisdom. Farewell, and remember, the most vivid reality may not always be the truest. This is your friend Frank at the Clockwork Eye, signing off. Cheerio.